onto this computer. And at the top left now, you should see a button saying recording. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right, let's go back to the PowerPoint. So glad I remembered that. Here we go. So objectives, as I said, I just went over those for you. All right. A little bit about me. That's me. That's my little girl. A couple of you were listening to me complain before because she is going to the preschool across the street from Goodwin starting in the fall. And tonight is her first opportunity to go and meet the teachers and her classmates and see the school. And it's just bad timing for the scheduling. It's really disappointing. So I just saw them off there on their way to check out Riverside Magnet School. All right. Say that again.
I said, oh, hugs from a distance.
Thank you. It's a big milestone and I can't be there. But it's okay. There will be others. All right. A little bit of background about me. I used to be a middle school teacher. I was a middle school teacher for about 12 years and I taught everything, mostly social studies and history, but I also taught character development and journalism and computers and enrichment and gifted and talented in English and math. I was a math teacher for about 3 years too. And how do I put this nicely? Middle school was great, but I quickly burnt out and moved to Goodwin about 7 years ago and absolutely love it. So those of you who have middle schoolers, my deepest condolences. It really. These are some
prayers.
Say that again.
I said, keep me lifted in your prayers. I have a middle schooler.
Yeah, you got it. Although now I have a 3-year-old. So, whoa, yeah. Okay. Other classes I teach, I've taught GAP 88 and IDA 120. Both of those classes have been discontinued at Goodwin, but now I'm in charge of the COM 101 and 105 curriculum, and I also teach CAP 110 from time to time. I'm also a grad student at the University of Hartford. I am in I think I'm wrapping up my 4th year of grad school, and I have done all my coursework. So now I'm in the dissertation phase where I'm writing my dissertation, and my research is on the need for adequate lactation spaces on campuses for breastfeeding student parents, which comes back from my personal experiences where I just didn't have that space. And I tell you all this, the picture of my daughter, the grad student part, because I really want to emphasize the fact that I know where a lot of you are coming from, where you're balancing full-time work and school and family responsibilities. So I'm in that exact same boat as you, where, I work all day and then I run around after the Rugrat. And then after she goes to bed, I sit down in front of my computer and I do homework for hours. So I feel your pain, I really do. I love summer. Beach is the best. I am so excited. We're already planning our first beach trip for next month. And like I said, my favorite role is mommy and that's my daughter, Ami. She's 3. All right, a little bit of information about contacting me. You can email me, and that is my Goodwin email address. I think a couple of you have taken advantage of it already. I've given you that's not my cell number, that's my desk number at Goodwin, but it rings to my cell phone. So if you need to call me, that is the number you would reach, or rather you dial, and it will reach me, wherever I am. And of course, I have virtual office hours. And in the syllabus, those are listed. I am really in front of the computer, not necessarily in the Zoom classroom, but I'm in front of the computer Mondays and Tuesdays from 10 to 12 and Thursdays from 1 to 3. But if you need to set up another time with me, just shoot me a message and we'll do that. And I mentioned before that I also use text messaging. And from what I can tell, most of you have already signed up for that. A couple of you have not yet, but I really encourage you to. I use a program called Remind. And to join, you would just text at 8AEAF4 to the number 81010. And you do have to include the A in a circle there. That is part of it. And that would get you signed up for text messaging for our class. And what's nice about that is it will ask you to download the Remind app. Please don't. I find that it's more problem, than it's helpful. So please don't worry about downloading the app. Instead, the text messages will go directly to your phone. And what's nice about this is while you can email me and call me, texting me is often much, much faster because it goes to my cell phone. I see it immediately and I can answer you immediately. So rather than sending an email and waiting for me to get to the computer to respond. So I do recommend that you text me. I also use it to shoot out reminders and announcements every now and then too. All right. And like I don't think I mentioned this before, when you text me, your messages go to me and me only. So it's not like, if you text something like, help, I failed the quiz, what do I do? It's not going to the entire class, it's going to me only. I'm the only one who has the power to text everyone all at once. When you text, it's just to me. All right. Icebreaker, woo woo. Ready? All right, my friends. So part of doing an online class is that you tell us a little bit about yourself. It's really important now because we are online and we aren't going to see each other in real life. It's going to be tough to see each other and to communicate. So I do want to ask you to do an icebreaker really quick tonight. And this is what it is. I'm going to give each of you a minute. Yes, a minute. You can do it. It goes faster than you think. And what I'm going to ask you to do is introduce yourself. Tell us your name, your major, your semester, your goal for this major, what you want to do with it. And then find something near you, an object, a possession, something near you that explains who you are as a communicator. And talk to us about how this represents you and you as a communicator. All right. Does that make sense? I'm seeing some confused faces. I'm seeing some nods. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop my screen really quick. And I will put exactly that screen into the chat so you can see it and you have it. If you haven't yet, I just want to show you up at the side that you do have a chat function, but now you've got exactly what I'm asking you to do. It's just very spread out. I don't mind going first, but then I'm going to popcorn it to someone else. All right, so fair warning. All right, I told you a little bit and I'm going to set a timer. I do have a timer going for this. So that 1 minute, we're going to hold to it. All right. So
I don't see what you posted in the chat. So I'm
Nope.
not sure if you're posting it to everyone or just.
I did. Is your chat open? If you hover near the bottom of
I
your
don't see it either. It's not there yet.
No. Oh, because I didn't hit enter.
It's okay. It happens.
There we go. Now I hit enter. There you go. Thank you for that. Please, if you see that I miss anything, call me out. Let me know immediately. All right, so I am going to pick my nearby out objects and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I know I gave you, I'm starting my timer. I know I gave you a little bit of background about me already. Specifically, I'm in school now to be a doctorate, or to get my doctorate in higher education leadership. And with that, I'm really hoping to become like an administrator, a department head, a dean. It'd be great to be something even higher, like a provost. But I'm really looking for the chance to get some leadership skills so that I can really further my career and do more with it. And the object that I chose to represent my communication this is so geeky. This is the APA manual, APA 7, the style manual. And I chose this because right now when I'm in the middle of my dissertation, everything focuses on writing and how I'm communicating and getting my point across and my research across. So this has been my Bible in the past few months, and it's a love-hate relationship. All right, there's a minute. So pretty simple. I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. And I know I said I'd popcorn it, but I'm going to be nice. Does anyone want to volunteer to go first? Arlise, all right, go ahead, unmute yourself. And I will set our timer. And when you're ready, you can begin.
My name is Arlise Berwet. I'm a mother of 4, a grandmother. I I'm going for human services. And I chose that because I've been through so much and I feel like not too many doors were open for me and not too many, I didn't have anyone to kind of like guide me, to help me. I did it pretty much on my own. And I just felt like if I had those guides and that help, it would be, I would have probably started school sooner and finished earlier, but
Mhm.
that wasn't the case. And my object of choice,
It says mom. I see hearts and it says mom.
yes, hold on, my light is kind of, let me move the light. It says mom, and it was something that my children gave to me.
Mhm.
And I think that object as my communication skill, I have 4 children. One is 26, the other one is 19, and I have twin daughters. And different attitude, and I have to communicate with all of them in different ways. We don't see eye to eye, and I think communication is a great skill so that we don't argue. We can, yeah, different attitudes. I have one that's in college, so it's having that communication skill is
Sure.
yeah.
Thank you, Arlise. All right, that was a little over a minute, but it was important. Who's next? Who's my next victim?
Hello.
Amanda, you unmuted. I saw it. All right, go for
Hi
it.
guys, I'm Amanda. I'm a mom of 3. I have a 13, 6, and 2-year-old.
No.
Yeah. So I currently, well, I do have my associate's in medical assisting, and I got it 6 years ago. And then I decided to have my second and my third and be a wife and all that. So I kind of put school behind me. I wanted what I joined now is to be RN. So I'm in the associate's program. So this class is actually part of the bachelor since I have to do so many of the sciences. So I'm kind of just filling in my part-time schedule. So I'm kind of doing both at the same time. Let's see here. So my goal is when I do finish is actually to continue in the field. In the meantime, I do work with the public. I work for the local housing authority. So I deal with a little of everything every day. Let's see here. So I know it's so tacky, but the first thing I grab and what I communicate all day is my cell phone with people all day, emails, text messages, any form, working remote, and doing my job, like any way to get like the documents I need to get my work done. So if it's text messages, photos, emailing, and with my 13-year-old, so that's how sometimes we communicate too, is through text message. But that's what we do to, and with everything that's going on, that's how we would communicate with everyone, family, work,
Absolutely.
everything. So that's
Great.
me in a nutshell.
Thank you. All right, who's next?
I guess I'll go next.
Go for it.
Okay, so as Amanda, I am a mother of 3, but hi, my name is Marzina. My major is human services. This is my second semester or third, one of those. Second semester, I want to say it's my second semester, I think. And my goal with my major is to I want to be a social worker ultimately, but I also want this under my belt primarily because of, which leads me to my next thing is I want to be a very successful international motivational speaker. And
Cool.
my object is my business card, which I already do already. I do motivational speaking, empowerment speaking, inspirational speaking. And so communicating is my thing day to day. So I speak to age ranges from middle school all the way up until the most seasoned individual of 100,000 plus. So that is my thing, guys.
Nice. And that reminds me that there's a thing coming up and I can't find it right now. We do have a motivational speaker who's speaking to the entire college.
Yep, I signed up
in
for it.
Kaplan Mowbray. There it is, Wednesday the 19th, I believe. Great.
So I am receiving an award, which is like next weekend,
Mhm.
for one woman of color for, that the whole thing,
Nice.
speaking. So it's a big thing. really excited. So yeah.
Good for you. Thank you, Marzina. All right. Who's my next victim? I've got Sam and Amber. You unmuted.
I'll go next. Yeah.
All right.
My name's Amber. This is actually my first semester at Goodwin. I'm a nursing major. Well, I'm hoping to get into the nursing program in December. I have a general studies degree at Tunxis Community College. I'm actually finishing up finals this week, so it kind of a little busy, like it like merged together for some reason.
Yeah.
My goal is to get into the program and finish as best as I can. And I guess my blanket, it's soft. I'm very soft spoken, and it feels nice. I guess I take into consideration of people's feelings as a communicator, I guess. Yeah, that's about it.
Sounds great. That's a great example. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, Sam or Jasmine? Who's next?
I can go next.
Jasmine, go ahead.
Hold on, let me take my camera off. So my name is Jasmine. My major at Goodwin is nursing. I have a bachelor's degree right now. Well, I got my bachelor's from Southern with a degree in sociology and criminal justice. And I decided to do nursing while I was working on the psych unit. Being around those nurses kind of motivated me in a way. So, once I told them that, like, you guys are kind of motivating me to go back to school, they kind of got in my ear, and it's like, I just had to go along with it. Well, I didn't have to, but I decided to go along with it. And I really couldn't find the degree that I have now. It's like, I really can't find anything in that field. It's kind of hard. So I feel like nursing is like a great field to go into. I'm trying to see what the next question is.
Something that represents you as a communicator.
Oh, I'm a mother of a 2-year-old. I have a 2-year-old daughter, so I use my phone a lot too. I have to communicate with that, especially being at work a lot. I always have my phone in my near me to see what's going on with her and communicate other ways and stuff. Yeah, I'm not really much of a talker. I don't know what else to say.
That's fine. That's fine. Thinking about your experience with psych nursing, I used to teach at CCMC, has a behavioral day school. And so that was, students, kids between the ages of 5 and 21 who had social and emotional behavioral issues. And whew, you're not kidding. It takes a special kind of person to be able to work in the psych ward. I loved it, but it was not my forever place.
Yeah, exactly. I prefer the geriatric unit rather than
Oh, good. Nice.
the kids. Yeah.
Really?
All right.
Interesting, Jasmine. I'm sorry, because my cousin worked in the same ward as you with the kids, the psych ward for the kids. And she also worked in the geriatric. We were just having a conversation and she said that she preferred the kids over the geriatric. So you guys it's really funny. So personalities are really different. Like
I feel like on the unit that I work with, I had a lot of dementia and Alzheimer's. So it was easy for me to get attached and want to help them because I felt for them. So
sure.
I just got attached to them.
Easy to do.
And once I had my own kid, I used to work with children with autism, but once I had my own kid, it's like I couldn't deal with working with the kids and then going home to deal with my own kids. So I was like, all right, I need a break.
Yes.
I get it.
Yeah, it was too much.
All right, Sam, wrap us up. You are muted. Whoops. Can I unmute you? I cannot unmute you. Oh no, did I do that? Oh, no, we're unmuted. There we go. Go for it.
My name's Sam. I'm a CNA. I'm starting a new job this week. And let's see. I'm trying to get into the nursing program. I've only been taking like 2 classes a semester, so I think it's like my 8th semester or something like that. And I got my, let's see, coffee mug, because I have to drink a lot of coffee. Did you hear me?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to this class. I'm not a big talker, but open to learn more how to.
Mhm.
And,
And you said you're starting a new job this week, right?
yeah,
That's awesome. Congratulations.
thank you.
All right. So that was, no one died, right? Everyone survived the icebreaker. I know it's hard and it's awkward to do that. As I said before, though, it's really tough when you're in a synchronous class, especially when you're in an online class, to get to know people and to relate to each other. And we're kind of in a nice sweet spot here where it's a very small class. I have 9 people on my roster. We're missing a few tonight. But just having that small intimate group, it's really nice to be able to get to know each other and to see each other and be able to put faces to names and really communicate with each other. All right. So that being said, let's talk a little bit about how you can be successful in a synchronous class. I know a couple of you have said that you've taken online synchronous classes before. I'm guessing that most of you have taken at least an online asynchronous class before. Does that sound familiar? That's where you just log in and you do the work on your own? No, Arlise? Okay. All right. I'm going to say that an online synchronous, which is what we have.
Sorry, not to cut you off. It was hard enough for me to take an online class. After one semester, I'm a little more comfortable with it. But with this class, there's just so much component to it. So I'm a little nervous.
No worries. I would argue that this is the best of both worlds. I've been teaching on campus for the past 2 semesters. I've been going in and teaching day classes. And, in that case, it's nice because you can see people and you can work one-on-one and meet with each other, but you're also wearing a mask the whole time. And by the end of the class, 3 hours in a mask, it's wet, it's gross, makeup everywhere. It's just not fun. And a regular online class, you just don't see people. You're kind of by yourself. So I would argue that this format where we are now, where it's a synchronous online, it's the best of both worlds. You can still see each other and talk to each other. But, as far as I'm wearing pajamas right now. So it's just a beautiful thing. I'm not, but you never know, maybe next week. So let's talk a little bit about how to be successful in this. I'm going to start first by just going over Zoom a little bit. Stop me if I'm being repetitive or I'm going over things that just, don't make sense to you. But I want to just go over this so you're clear with what we're going to do. So this is Zoom. And I know in some instances you might have used Blackboard Collaborate. I'm familiar with Blackboard Collaborate. I've used it. I've got to be honest with you. It's crap. And after August, we're losing Blackboard completely. We'll be moving to Canvas. So at that point, we'll be using only Zoom. So it's good for you now to be able to get into Zoom and understand it. What I'm going to do is show you my screen again so you can see some of the things that I'm talking about as I am doing it. Nope, didn't work that way. Shoot, that's too bad. Essentially, I just want to draw your attention to a few things. You might have seen them already. First of all, at the top left of your screen is that little red, and if I point this way, I think you'll see it. There's a little red recording thing. Is it that way for you? I don't know if I'm flipped or not. So that way, there's a little red recording thing, and that just shows you that I'm recording. I'm going to ask your favor, please, in further classes, if I forget to record, remind me, because it does do you a favor in the long run. This way then, on the sidebar, you should be able to see the chat window. And what's nice about that is you can chat with everyone, or you can chat privately. Hi. You can chat privately. So a couple of you have said things privately to me, and it's easy to see that. You possibly are able to send private messages to each other. I haven't limited that. So if that's the case, I hope you can. All right, at the bottom of your screen, I know this is clear, right? At the bottom of your screen, if you hover near the bottom, you're going to see a couple different controls. First of all, you're going to see a place where you can look at security. You're also going to see toggles for your video and for your sound. I am going to ask very sweetly that you keep your video on as much as you're comfortable with. It's nice to be able to see people. I'm used to talking to just blank screens because I record videos all the time. But it's nice to see you and interact too, especially, you know, as we get into nonverbal communication. That's also the place for you to mute or unmute, but I believe you can also hit the space bar and, you know, say something really quick too, and unmute yourself and say that too. All right. There's also a place for you to see participants. You can see who else is in the class. And then we don't need it right now, but at some point you'll see something about screen sharing. I don't believe that you can share right now, but it is there later on if we need it. You also can see something called reactions. And when you click on that one, you can see a couple different little emojis pop up. There we go, ta-da, and hearts. I see you guys are practicing. You're trying a few of those emojis. Feel free to do that. That's a great way to get my attention in class, especially if I'm blah, 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 and I'm not paying attention to the chat window, or if you don't want to unmute yourself. And there's also a function there to raise your hand. And if you do that, I think you can see now that I just raised my hand, that'll stay on until I address you and until I lower your hand for you. Okay, so just another way to interact with me.
I can never see that raise hand thing on my Apple. I always see it on my phone, but this I don't see it anywhere.
You might also see it if you hover over participants. Sometimes I see it there too. So just another possibility.
So
Does
if
anyone
you push more,
yeah?
and you go, like, when you push more, a reaction should be there. And like when you push reaction, the raised hand is like the first one that's there, that bar.
Cool.
I guess it's some different for some people. For me,
some people, okay.
yeah, for me, it's what she said, the participants.
Okay.
And then when I look down on the right hand corner of the participants box, it's
Oh, okay, I see it, I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why make it consistent? You know, that would just be
Right.
logical.
Exactly.
The last thing is, can anyone see breakout rooms at the bottom?
No.
No? Okay, so that's something only on my screen. Using Zoom also gives us the opportunity to do breakout rooms, and we won't be doing that tonight, but in other class periods, we will have breakout rooms. And I'll divide you up into however many, and you'll be able to work independently. So that's something that, you know, is coming in the future. All right, so there's Zoom in a nutshell. We are going to use the same link each week. And I know a lot of this is housekeeping, blah, 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 boring stuff, but I do want to make sure that you understand it. We will use the same link each week. I have emailed it to you, and I encourage you to accept the calendar request that I sent you, because then it'll appear in your calendar and you'll get reminders each week about it too. So just a way to keep yourself organized. I don't know, any questions about Zoom? Anything?
Say that again, you sent a calendar request throughout Goodwin email?
Yes, I did.
All right, I have to check that because I didn't see it. Okay.
Yep. And I know a couple of you did accept it. And what happens is when you accept it, that disappears, but it appears in your Goodwin student email calendar. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Other questions about Zoom? No? All right. So let's talk about what it says, what it takes to be successful in a asynchronous course. For this, I'm going to go into Blackboard for you for a second so you can see what I'm talking about. And here we are in Blackboard, and all of your heads are in my way. Hang on, there we go. All right, so this is a announcement I sent out to you yesterday. It has the Zoom link that we used tonight. And like I said, we're going to use that same Zoom link each week. And meeting ID and passcode, you probably don't need that because I sent you the direct link. But if you do get kicked out and you need that information, you have it. Below that, this is a short video that I sent about what synchronous online learning is. I'm assuming that you have already seen this, so I'm not going to belabor the point. But I do want to make sure that people don't have any questions about the particular class and what it means to be synchronous. So what I am going to do is navigate over to that last slide in that video so you can see it. Whoops. And it's thinking. Hang on just a second. Really, computer? We don't have time for that. There we go. There we go. Okay. So here is the last slide from that video. And this was just some etiquette, some basic etiquette for you for synchronous online classes. First of all, eliminate distractions. And I know that's super duper hard, especially when most of us are at home right now. If you can, do the best that you can with it. You know, I've got my phone next to me, but the volume is off completely. And I'll just like tap it every now and then just to make sure it's all set. But I don't have the TV on. I don't have any radio on behind me. And quite honestly, I've told my husband that he's on Thursday nights. He's responsible and it's his job to keep my daughter otherwise occupied. All right. The other thing is to be aware of what's going on in your video, where most of us do have our cameras on right now. You want to be careful about what's going on behind you and make sure that the space is either quiet or clear or, you know, just not distracting to you or anyone else. The second one, introduce yourself. We did that. This is a small enough group that we probably don't need to say, hey, this is Professor Sweeter every time. You know, we don't need to do that. But it does help if you feel, especially if I'm sharing screen, just to do a shout out that way. Make eye contact. I know it's kind of a weird one. I'm doing my best right now because I'm looking at, I know you can see me in the corner. I'm looking at, I've got this little circle on the top of my laptop and I look at that as opposed to the slide. So just kind of helps, you know, make it feel like it's a real situation. Engage and be professional. I do want to let you know, I think I mentioned this before, I take attendance every single class. And I have a list next to me. I'm checking things off as people are participating. And I do give participation grades during each class as well. So it's really helpful, especially with a small group, that you're here, you're active, you're participating. And then you guys are already doing a great job of this. It says mute, unmute your microphone. It's just easier to keep yourself muted until you're ready to say something. And I certainly want to hear from you. So whenever you're ready, unmute and say hello and share. All right. So pretty self-explanatory there when we talk about, you know, how to manage the synchronous class session. A couple of things I just want to point out. This is a class. So we are definitely going to be here every Thursday at 6 p.m. I'm going to do my best to log in at 5:30 so that you can talk to me and ask questions if you need to, but this is a class. And so this is, you know, just like if it's a regular on-ground class, this is what you should be planned to be doing between 6 and 8:50 every Thursday. I will be totally honest with you. It's hard to be online like this. It's hard to be in a synchronous session, certainly for me, but more so I think for you. So I'm saying this very carefully because I don't want to jinx us. I do not anticipate that we will be here until 8:50 because that's hard. It's hard to do. Certainly 90 minutes, but after 8, you know, that's 3 hours is a long time to be online. Okay. That being said, I do want to encourage you to, you know, if you need to get up, if you need to use the bathroom, if you need to just stretch your legs, do that. Just please come back. Please, we will miss you. It's dinner time. Hi, sweetheart. It's dinner time. So, you know, if you need to have a snack with you, by all means, enjoy it. Okay. We're still like real living, breathing people and we have needs. So I'm totally fine with that. All right. Before I move on to the syllabus, do you have any questions, anything that you're not clear about that you'd like to address?
Anybody want a 4-year-old? That's all I have to say right now.
Is she better than a 3-year-old? Can I trade?
No, he's a boy. I know he's really pretty, but this is a boy.
I couldn't tell,
And he-
sorry.
See, for
he
me,
doesn't want him.
I'm a grandma, so mine could come and then he could go back to his parents. But the ones that reside with me are 19 and my twin daughters are 16. So
Oh, God.
I
That's not
kinda
much
like-
better. Do you know
yeah,
my
that's a
mother?
little, the headache is more.
Yeah. Do you know my mother? My daughter is her only grandchild, and we went to visit her, and she said, "I'm going to spell this out for you, Marzina." But she said, "I want to take Amelie to the CANDY store and let her pick out anything she wants." I was like, "No!"
Immediately a no. I was just gonna say, what are you saying to me right now?
And she did. And she sent her home with a whole bag of candy. And oh no, no, Mom. No.
My 16-year-old, when she eats candy, she goes bonkers. So
Mhm.
yeah.
No,
Yep.
it's the same with him. It's like as soon as someone I know, like say I went to run an errand, or say I had an event and I came home and he was the only one like walking around aimlessly. I'm like, someone gave you either a drink of soda or a piece of candy because you won't wind down. And I'm like sitting in the corner rocking, like, someone motivate me.
I get it. All right. If there's nothing else that you guys have questions about, let's jump into the syllabus, okay? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again for you, and hopefully you've already had the opportunity to see this in Blackboard. So the syllabus, first of all, let's talk a little bit about the course. I'm not going to read this word for word, but the course introduces you to effective communications, and some of the topics are going to be exploring personal identity. That is going to be chapter 2. Chapter 1 is really communication theory. Chapter 2 is who you are as an individual. Chapter 3 then goes into your motivations for communicating. Why do you communicate with people? What do you get out of it? What are your goals? And then chapters 4, 5, and 6 are more specifically verbal, nonverbal, and listening communication. So that first half is really a lot of theory. And then the second half of the course, chapters 7 through 11, we're getting into specific relationships when it comes to communication. So chapter 7 is how you maintain relationships. Chapter 8 is how you manage conflict in relationships. And then 9, 10, and 11 are romantic, family, and professional relationships. So the first half is a lot of theory and a lot of, personal stuff. And then the second half is going to be a lot of specific relationship situations. All right, so you get the idea there with the course description, what we're looking at. And then your goal, pretty simple, to provide you with the skills needed to communicate effectively. So if you haven't yet seen it, what I'm going to say is, please make sure that you log into Blackboard and grab the syllabus as soon as possible. I will show you where it is in Blackboard in just a moment, but I need you to bear with me as I go through the syllabus. All right, here's the first page, and this goes over all of my contact information. This is my Zoom room again. This is the room we are using, and also the room you would meet with me for office hours. Scrolling down, this is just a quick explanation about what we're doing with Synchronous Online. So as we said, you're working at home, you're working remotely, but we do have the opportunity to jump in and see each other. And Blackboard, of course, is what we are using this semester. The course description, I just went over for you. And I'm actually going to come back to this textbook information in just a few minutes, but this is the textbook that we're using, Interconnections by Bowman. And I will come back to that because I know the textbook gets a little bit confusing. And it's okay, by the way, if you don't have the textbook yet, you technically won't need it until next week. I'm gonna just skim over these. These are the learning outcomes. So on the left, this is what you're supposed to be learning. And on the right, this is what we are doing to help you learn that stuff. I'll scroll down a little bit more, and this is the grading breakdown. Okay. Focusing on the pie chart here, you can see that there's 5 significant assignments that we're focusing on. First, you've got weekly assignments that are 30%. You've got discussion boards, and those are going to be mostly conducted in Flipgrid. I'll be going over that in a little bit for you. You have a midterm presentation, a final project, and then the participation, and that's in our synchronous sections. As I mentioned before, I take attendance and I do participation for your synchronous sessions. All right, so you can see how things are broken down. And if you have questions, stop me, okay? Please stop me in the middle of this. These are the specific grades. Engagement and participation, as I said, you're going to be assessed in how you actively engage in the class, and then how you contribute to discussions and ask and answer questions. Weekly assignments are pretty self-explanatory. That's the homework part. Some of those are going to be completed in Blackboard. Some of those are going to be completed in MindTap. And most of them are going to include video activities, writing activities, and quizzes. Discussion boards, we're going to be doing using Flipgrid. And I'm actually going to go ahead and navigate to Flipgrid really quickly so you can see it. And that is back here. So Flipgrid is an online discussion board. If you've used Snapchat, if you've used TikTok, you can do Flipgrid. And I'm just opening up our class page so you can see it. Essentially what this is an opportunity for us to have a discussion board with video where we can actually interact with each other. And you can't see all of them yet, but this is our first Flipgrid discussion board. It is open now, and you can log into it now and introduce yourself. All right, so week 1, welcome to class. On the left here is the introduction. That's the assignment essentially. And what I'm asking you to do is, whoops, highlighting the wrong things. Here you go. To tell us a little bit about yourself, okay? Personal and professional fun facts, strengths and weaknesses as a communicator, and so forth. And to do that, you'll scroll down to the bottom and you can see my video, right? And when you're ready, up here at actions, you can record a response and answer the question. And you'll have about 2 minutes to go ahead and share it. I do encourage you to watch this little video here, because that's me explaining a little bit more about what it looks like when you do this discussion board. And then when you're ready, your response will actually appear right above mine. And the goal is for everyone to record one short video introducing themselves, and then to respond to at least 2 of their classmates. And your responses can be either in video or in writing. It's up to you what you prefer. Now, big question. Yep, Arlise, go ahead.
Sorry, I have a question.
Sure.
Are we going to be using Blackboard discussion, like the discussion on Blackboard too, as well as Flipgrid?
No, this is in place of Blackboard. Mhm.
Okay.
That's,
And
Arlise, your question too?
no, go ahead. I'll let her finish.
Yep, go ahead, Amber.
I was just gonna ask what MindTap was after.
That is your textbook.
Oh, that's the textbook.
Yep, and I'm going to show you
Okay.
that in a minute too.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Great question.
Can I just jump in and say I know nothing about ticker talkers?
Neither do I.
That was my question.
That's okay.
Are we able to record on MindTap as well?
So here's the deal. And a lot of times people are like, why are you making us do these horrible Flipgrid discussion boards? Spoiler alert, your midterm project is a recorded speech, 6 to 8 minutes long. All right. So that's what you'll do for the midterm, is you're delivering a speech. And the reason why I'm having you do, you'll be fine. No one will die. No one's died yet. And the reason why I have you do the Flipgrid discussion boards is because it gives you good practice for recording yourself on the computer. Besides the fact that it's nice to be able to see each other, but really it's a good way to practice, because, if your discussion board is due, or rather if your midterm is due during week 7, then you've got weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to practice talking to the camera, to look at your mannerisms, to look at how you're, you're speaking aloud and the eye contact that you're making. And what happens is doing Flipgrid really helps people be better prepared for the midterm. All right.
So
Go ahead,
that
Elise.
previous screen that you were on,
Mhm.
where was that at? Because I
Sure.
was trying to search for that to kind of like think myself,
Yes,
familiarize
absolutely.
myself.
Absolutely. That's a great question. Let me show you. So I'm going back to Flipgrid right now. The place where you'll find that is in Blackboard. So here we are back in Blackboard. Can everyone see that? If you click on discussions, and this is kind of what Amber was asking before, you can see all of the week discussions here. And here's the first one, welcome to COM 105. And this is where Blackboard's stupid. It makes you click it again. But right here is information for how to access Flipgrid. Okay. And so I've got the logo up here on the side. And then there's two ways that you can access that Flipgrid. Is either you can click on it and it'll bring you to the website that I was just showing you. Or if you want, you can use your cell phone and you can scan that QR code and it will bring you to it. It might ask you to download the app. You don't have to. You can definitely do it in your phone's browser if you choose to. All right. So that is
Got
how
it.
you would
Thank you.
access that discussion board. Mhm.
I saw that, so I was a little confused about that. Okay, thank you.
Sure. Sure. And I get it. It's a new technology. I personally am not on TikTok either because I think it's super dumb, but my husband loves it. But if you can do this, if you can, log in and do a Zoom call, Flipgrid's gonna be super easy. It really is. All right. The
I
only
am
last thing.
really old. I'm computer literate. Like I said, I'm a grandma. My kids are all TikTokers and all of that. I'm computer literate, but sometimes certain things, it takes me a little bit longer.
No
to
worries. No
get
worries.
the
We
hang
got
of it.
15 weeks to figure it out. I
have
just
a
want to
quick question.
show you. I highlighted at the bottom. Hang on just a second, Amanda. I do see you. I highlighted at the bottom here, your student ID number is your username. So just so you're aware, when you click on the link, or if you use the QR code, it is going to ask you, see, I'm already logged in, so it's bringing me right to it. But it will ask you to enter your user ID. And I have created a user ID for everyone, and that is your student ID number. All right. And I did that because it makes it more secure. And that way we don't have any random people, jumping in and participating or seeing your videos for that matter. Okay. All right, Amanda, go for it. What can I answer for you?
So when we're posting on the Flipgrid, I know we're supposed to do one response to, and then two, responses to our
Mhm.
classmates. I know we all have crazy schedules, and this is a small class. So what happens if we
Wednesday
get
night.
one in, but there's not enough posts? Like how does that go? It's
Sure.
harder, like with work schedules, like logging in every day to see if someone, enough people posted to get responses in. Like, how would
Absolutely.
you weigh that? Like, if it comes down to
So first of all, a lot of the syllabi say that you need to post by Wednesday night. And I don't believe in that. I think it's kind of garbage because you're just not always going to be ready to post by Wednesday night. So I have no problem if you do all of your posts on Sunday night at 11:55. It's not going to bother me as long as you get your posts in. Where we are a small class, I encourage you to at least post your initial video. And I'm doing my best to post before the week begins, quite honestly. So then you have another person that you can respond to. So there's two. If as a group, we're slacking a little bit, I will take that into consideration. I certainly won't penalize you if you don't have anyone else to respond to, because that's not fair. But I do want to encourage you also as a group to be mindful of that and make sure that you don't, mess things up for your classmates. All right. Other questions about Flipgrid? Cool.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous, Professor, because I'm just like, it's not the recording I'm nervous about, it's the fact of how to do it. It just has me a little nervous
You got
because
it.
I'm not tech savvy. Like my computer teacher, I'm sure if she knew me in person, she'll probably push me into the Connecticut River because I was that bad. I was the one who was like, show me where, I don't see it.
You made it here. I have faith in you.
That was horrible. Like that was me all the time. And I was like, I feel bad, but I'm not tech savvy. I'm
That's-
sorry. I don't
Say
know.
your name again, Marzina.
Yes, ma'am.
See, so I get what you're saying because I'm a little computer lit, and I'm not tech savvy either. But the good thing about it is, like I said, I have a 19-year-old and I have two 16-year-olds that kind of could help me maneuver it a little bit. If
I'm
I get
gonna ask
lost,
my daughter,
so-
but my daughter is such a jerk that she might ask you what? I wasn't talking about you. I was. Yes, you did.
The good news is you have me too. All right. It's my job to make sure that you can get in there and that you can figure it out. So you've got me. Just text me and
Girl,
No.
don't get upset with me, child.
I
Just-
won't.
You don't. I'm begging you. I'm gonna just be sitting here crying. Help me, please.
That's awesome. All right, let's look back at the syllabus. Where is the syllabus? There it is. Okay, so those are discussion boards. And like I said, it does say, did I take out the Wednesday thing? Oh, good, I did. Yeah, like I said, I don't care when you post, just get your 3 posts in. And if you want, go crazy with it too. You know, you can post more than 3 times. No worries. Which brings me to the midterm project. Yay! Don't throw things at me. Yes, I already let the cat out of the bag. Your midterm project is a speech. It is 6 to 8 minutes long. It is on any topic that you choose. Yes, you have to do it. Yes, you have to be on camera. Yes, you'll be amazing. I'm not worried. Please know, and I realize some of you took 105 because you didn't want to take Com 101, which is public speaking. I get that. I'm not offended. The reality is this: in our professional lives, we are at some point going to have to do public speaking. It's a skill that's really good. I mean, at the very least, it'll help you with job interviews. And so it's a good skill to have under your belt. So with this class, yes, there is a speech for the midterm. I will tell you that the way I run my class, I will scaffold and help you every step of the way through that midterm. What I do like to do is do intermediary assignments. So one week you'll tell me what your topic is. Another week you will submit an outline. Then we'll go back. I will review that outline. I'll give you tons and tons and tons of feedback. I'll send it back to you. We can do practice sessions, but you will be completely supported through that assignment, you know, should you take it. All right. So midterm project, definitely the hardest assignment we do this semester in this class, but it's something that I've got down to a science, and I'm really confident that it will be far less painful than you think it's going to be. All right. And then finally, the final project, I'm realizing that weekly assignments, we didn't go over it. Okay, final project. At the end of the semester, you will be responsible for writing a 3 to 5 page paper. And that'll be on any aspect of interpersonal communications that you want to talk about. Okay. So that is essentially what you're going to be graded on in a nutshell. Pages 5 is the course outline. And this is probably the most important part to you because it goes through the different assignments that you're responsible for this course. And I've done my best to really plan out everything. And you'll also see in Blackboard that I've been really, really careful about giving you due dates. So all of the due dates for the entire semester are already populated in Blackboard. So there's no question as to when is something due or not. Okay. Here's how it's set up. You've got your weeks. This is week 1. Course introduction is what we're talking about. This third column is what you should be doing before we meet on Thursday night. So hopefully before class tonight, you just familiarized yourself with our course. Some of you are working on getting to MindTap. I know at least you are already in MindTap. And I asked that you made your initial post to Black Flipgrid, but I'm not worried that you haven't yet because again, it's a new technology. This fourth column talks about what we're doing in class. So intro, icebreaker, we've done all this already, all about synchronous courses in Zoom. Right now I'm doing the course overview. And as we wrap that up, we're going to get into the 5 principles of interpersonal communication. And then you can see I've left time for Q&A at the end of this class and the beginning of next class. And then after we meet tonight, these are the assignments that you would complete after class. Certainly, if you want to get a head start and do them before Thursday night, you are welcome to do that. But I did want to emphasize that you don't have to do everything before class. You have until Sunday night at midnight to complete those. So it's up to you. Obviously, you guys know your schedule best if it works better for you to do the assignments ahead of Thursday or after Thursday. All right.
So technically, all our assignments are supposed to be posted by Sunday, by this Sunday.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm guessing you're gonna go into that because, like I said, I was a little bit ahead of time. I was
Yes,
kind
I
of
am.
like looking at the what was due for the week.
Yep.
That week 1 journal, that was my question. I'm kind of, I
Let's look at
understand
it
the
now.
Flipboard. Yeah.
Let's look at it now. All right. Any other questions about the syllabus?
Nothing for right now.
No? All right. Just so you
good
can
to go.
see, like I said, I've gone through, I've done the entire semester. Stuff in bold here has to do with either the midterm or the final. Scroll down. There we go. And you see, you know, you've got 3 to 4 assignments each week. Okay.
I
And
have
this
a
is
question.
this is a 15-week course, so we're moving at a fairly relaxed pace. Was it Amber or Amanda? I didn't see who it was. Amber, go
Amber,
ahead.
I have a question. How are your quizzes set up?
I am going to try to show you one in a few minutes.
Okay.
And there you go. That's the entire thing. I do just want to point out the week of July 26th, week 12. I am not going to be in a place with reliable internet, so we're not going to meet that particular week. So you have that week off, okay? And then the last few pages of the syllabus are course policies. And really the one that I want to highlight the most for you is, first of all, communication and email. Obviously, text messaging is great for us, but I do want to remind you to check your Goodwin email account regularly. And I guess I don't have it here. Oh, this is where it is. Final day to submit late and missing assignments is Friday, August 20th. I do accept late work. And so this is the last day, barring discussion boards and projects. This is the last day that you'll be able to accept, or rather submit assignments for credit. All right. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Blackboard. I see a couple people chatting. Okay, I understand, Marzina. Thank you. So let's go to new share. And if you haven't yet, come on, there we go. Here we are in Blackboard. And I encourage you to log into Blackboard and check it out and explore. I promise you, you cannot mess up anything here. I can. This first page we're looking at is announcements, and I try to post weekly announcements with links and information. At the bottom here is my original announcement to you. And just so you're aware, these announcements will stay up the entire semester. So if you need to go back and find information, you can find it there. Over on the left, I'm going to look at the navigation pane here and syllabus. This is where, if you haven't yet downloaded the syllabus, you can find it. And again, that Zoom link. And then right here at the bottom, the syllabus and my contact information. The next thing I want to show you is weekly units. And I think this is really going to answer your questions, or at least about what you're responsible for this week. There are other folders that are here. You just can't see them. They are hidden from you. And so at the top, you can see click here to access MindTap. We're going to look at that in a few minutes. At the bottom is Cengage technical support. Hopefully you won't need that. And then between those two, all of the week folders will appear, and they're programmed to appear every Monday. So right now I'm looking at the week 1 course intro, and you can see it's an overview of the course, talks about course outcomes and learning outcomes, and then unit activities. Scrolling down, this particular folder has a lot of stuff in it because it's assuming that you've never taken an online class before. So it's got resources to help you orient to Blackboard. There's an online orientation module. There's a video about how to see my feedback. There's a video about the Blackboard app tour. The Blackboard app is actually very, very good. I do recommend it. It's especially helpful to check grades in a hurry. Some technical reference guides, some videos about MindTap. So after I explain to you what MindTap is, I do recommend that you go back and watch these. They're a little bit lengthy. This one's 4 minutes. The middle one is 15 minutes, but it's stuff that will be valuable to you. And then at the bottom, this is where we're finally getting to the assignments, or at least activities and assessments. And you have a couple different assignments here. The first thing is a PowerPoint, which quite honestly, I'm going to delete that. You don't need it. It's not going to be helpful to you. Instead, I'll post the PowerPoint I used tonight. After that is a document submission, and we're going to do an activity directly related to this tonight. So I am going to skip that one. And below that is a week 1 journal. But what's important about these 2 assignments is where they're underlined, you can click on them. And I'm going to click on this one in particular. And these 2 assignments are done in Blackboard. So some of your assignments will be completed in Blackboard. Some of your assignments will be completed in MindTap. And really, when you click on them, you'll be able to see which it is. The MindTap ones will have a Cengage icon next to them. Most assignments will be done in MindTap, but you will have at least 1 a week in Blackboard. And so this first assignment is pretty simple. It's a journal. I'm just asking you to write me about 200 to 400 words, telling me what your goals are for communication. How do you want to be a better communicator? What are things that you need to improve upon as a communicator? I can tell you quite honestly, for me, listening is tough, especially where my family is concerned. I generally have so much going on that it's really hard for me to listen. And it's really hard for me to listen empathetically, especially for my husband. So in that case, that would be a journal I could write about. I could write about how me as an individual, my goal is to become a better listener. My goal is to become a better empathetic listener for him. All right. So pretty simple.
I think I'm a good listener, but sometimes I find myself, it's like I'm listening, but then I'm thinking about something else as you're talking. So I feel like for me, I have to work at eye contact and you know, kind of like paying attention to people.
Yeah, absolutely. I get it. So that's all you'll be doing. You'll just be writing a journal entry. I do suggest that you write it in a Word document and then upload it. That's the easiest way to submit assignments, because otherwise Blackboard tends to get funky. So I do suggest that. All right. All right. I really quickly am going to close the door. Sorry about that. We are home from preschool.
Quick question.
Yeah, go for it.
So the reason why I'm asking, because I have HSR 101, I think, and it's pretty much the same concept.
Yep.
I saved my thing as a draft, and I also submitted it, but because I emailed her, because for some reason I felt like she doesn't have it, so I didn't want to do the same with this one.
Yeah, that's a great question, and this is valuable info for everyone. When you submit something, you know, like I said, write it up and then hit browse local files, and you'll see, you know, a window pop up and you can pick your assignment. Do not hit save as draft, because you don't actually submit the assignment then.
So how do you, and I think that's what just happened, how do you get out of, because I wanted to make corrections to the paper. So I saved it as a draft first, but I've been trying to submit it and it just kept saying 3 attempts, 3 attempts. And I don't think
Yeah.
it was submitted.
What I would do is go back to, if you click on my grades, I hope you guys can see where I'm over here on the left. When you click on my
Mhm.
grades, you will be able to see every single assignment for your class. So
Mhm.
this is another way for everyone to access the assignments, but you can click on it. Let's see, for example, here's the week 1 journal that we were just looking at. If you click on it, it'll open up the same thing we were looking at.
Mhm.
Come on, doesn't want to open.
I kind of know how to maneuver this. Because
Yeah.
I've had it before, but I'm trying to figure out how to take my paper out of draft. I
Sure.
emailed her like, how do I submit this? It's not submitting.
Sure. Somewhere in this corner, this bottom right corner, you will see a continue button or an edit button. So that's a way that you'll be able to access it too. Yeah.
Okay, I gotta go back because I've been sitting here trying to figure out, and I didn't want to do the same with this. Even though I had it in Word document, I did
Sure.
it, but as you know, just reading over, and I saved it as a draft, and I was like, okay, I'm having a problem. Hello.
Want to say hi? Did you have fun at
Right.
preschool? If you get stuck, Arlise, we can go over it together sometime too.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I didn't do it again.
Of course. Okay, I gotta work. I'll see you later.
I need you.
You need me. Yeah, of course you do. 3. All right. So assignments, I think most of you have had experience with with Blackboard before, so you can see how to do it. I do want to show you a few other things. I'm going to go back to the week 1 course intro for a second. And let's see. At the very, very bottom, I'm scrolling fast. I know at the very bottom under activities and assessments, you also have a link to the discussion board. And that's the thing we were looking at before in Flipgrid. And you also have this link to questions for the instructor. And that's just another place to ask me questions. I've got to be honest though, your best bet is to text me. That's the fastest way to reach me. Okay. All right. And I want to quickly say hi, Megan. I see you joined us. All right. Thank you. Now I'm going to navigate back over here. Let's see. We saw discussions already. Course projects is pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to navigate over there. You can see the midterm project. I encourage you to look at it and preview it. We will be talking about it in a few weeks, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. And the final project will disappear after our class tonight. You'll see it in a few weeks again. The last thing that's really important is the calendar. And this is something that I do for all of my classes. At the beginning of the semester, I go through and I add every single assignment for your course. And so let's see, just saw things disappear. But what I'm going to show you is. Okay, go watch some TV. Bye, honey. Bear with me just a second, guys. I have a lot of classes, you can see. Where is it? There it is. Summer, a little bit further, SO1. There we go. So what I've toggled, and you won't have all these classes that you see on the left. I supervise a lot of courses. That's why they're all there. But if you click on calendar in your Blackboard screen, you're going to see every single assignment has been populated in this calendar. And so you can look ahead then. We're looking at May right now. I'm going to look ahead to June. You can see everything that's due in June, everything that's due in July, and then everything that's due in August as well. So it's just another way for you to organize your thinking and organize yourselves in Blackboard. Okay. And what's nice about these two is you can click on them and go to the assignment as well. I know right now it says edit this assignment, but you as a student can go to the assignment. All right. That's Blackboard. Any questions about that? Anything else I can answer for you? And I'm learning that I need to close this thing. Thanks, Arliss. There we go. That did not do help. There we go. How are we doing so far? Everyone feeling okay? I know it's a lot of listening. It's a lot of paying attention to, orientation. All right. In the interest of time and attention and everyone's, ability to just sit, I'm going to go ahead and move on and talk a little bit about the textbook and about MindTap. So this semester, the class we use is called Interconnections, and it is by Jonathan Bowman. And it's an interesting class because yes, there's a paper textbook, but there's also a online digital platform called MindTap. And you've heard me throw out MindTap a few times during our meeting tonight. So MindTap essentially is a program that you're going to buy access to. And that is where you'll do all of your online work. You can access the textbook there. You'll access the quizzes there. There are video assignments there. And then your midterm is completed there. Okay. And with MindTap, it's really important. I do need to tell you, you can only purchase it in two places. You can purchase it either from the Goodwin bookstore or you can purchase it from cengage.com. There it is, Arlise, I love it. You cannot, oh, good, Amanda, thanks. You cannot purchase it from a third-party vendor, okay? You're not gonna be able to get it from Amazon or Chegg or eBay or anywhere else. It has to come from either Goodwin or from Cengage. The reason behind that is if you order it from any of those other places, you do not get the access code that you need to get into MindTap. So that's the key thing, right? Amazon is great if you want a paper copy of the book, but it's not going to give you the access code. And I shouldn't be saying this, but I'm going to say it anyways. If you have the choice, purchase directly from cengage.com because it's far cheaper than the school bookstore. The school bookstore has a huge, huge markup, so please purchase from cengage.com. I realize that some people, your financial aid means that you have to purchase from the school bookstore, but there's a big difference. Arlise,
I'm a
go for
little
it.
upset. I wish that they would have given us a hard copy instead of the.
Yeah. I've got mine right here.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out how to hold this together so I don't lose
Yeah.
any pages.
So let me show you really quickly. I published this before, but I think it's helpful to have again. You should see what textbook should I purchase, correct? Is that what we're looking at? All
Yes.
right, just to be sure, I'm going to reshare it. There it is. So this is a document. I had it in the syllabus, and I think I emailed it to you. If I haven't, I certainly will. This goes over what textbook you should purchase. And again, this is the book. This is the citation information, right? Bowman Interconnections. But then you've got three different options. First of all, you can get a digital platform, which is just a digital version of the text. But what's important is it gives you gives you access to all the materials on MindTap. The second option is a digital version and access to course materials on MindTap and a loose leaf copy of the book. And that's essentially what Arlise was just holding up. And I was holding it up too. It's, if I stop share for just a second, you can see it is the textbook. See, there's the title page and everything. And I have it in a binder. And so you can purchase that if you're someone who likes to have paper copies. I do recommend it. If you ordered this book from a third-party vendor, this is what you're getting, which is valuable, but it's not the online platform that you need to have access to. So it's up to you if you're okay with reading the textbook online or if you like the paper copy too. All right. And then the third copy, or the third purchase option is Cengage Unlimited. And I am going to say before you decide to purchase Cengage Unlimited, please talk to me because that's only valuable if you are taking other classes that include Cengage products. For example, Marzine, I think you said that you took CAP 110 at some point, so you had to use SAM. So that would be the same idea as the Cengage product. If you were taking more than one course using MindTap or using a Cengage product, that's when it would be worthwhile to you. All right, scrolling down, there's some pros and cons. I have given you the price point on Cengage.com. And as I said, their products are also available at Goodwin, but it's a ridiculous markup, like $40 more per product at Goodwin. So I do recommend that you purchase through Cengage.
So with this access code, what do we have access to?
You got it. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so in Blackboard, we're back in Blackboard. I'm going to go to weekly units and I'm going to say, click here to access MindTap. Okay, I'm not actually going to click that because it takes a few minutes to load, but I have it in another tab. Yes, I'm still here. Oh, did it kick me out? It kicked me out. So despite my best efforts, I still have to log back in. And I turned off my video. Hold on. There we go. The hard part about using Zoom is all the tools are up at the top where you're using your tabs and they like to open. So when you click on, click here to access MindTap, that is where you'll register your access code when you purchase it. Please do not register it through Cengage because then it's going to ask you for information that you won't have. So it's far easier to just click here to register. When you get to MindTap, this is, and unfortunately your version of MindTap and my version of MindTap look a little bit different, but this is essentially what you're going to see. I think your version looks a little bit more like Blackboard, where there's some navy navigation panes on the side and there's a nice big dashboard on the top. But essentially,
No, it looks somewhat like this.
Okay, good. But this is what you are purchasing, okay? Essentially, you have all of the textbook right here. There's a link over here on the side, it says full book, so you can open up the book and read it. So that same thing that I just showed you in my binder is, and it's loading, it's loading. Come on, you got this, MindTap, you can do it. But you can open up the textbook and read it right there in your computer screen. Up at the top here is table of contents, so you can pick, you know, each of the chapters that you want to go to. And what's nice about having it online is you can, you know, you can go in and navigate to whatever you want to talk about. Like tonight, we're talking about those principles of interpersonal communication. I navigated right there. And then I can see principle 1, principle 2, and so forth. On the left, what you're looking at here is the actual coursework. So next week, you're going to be in chapter 1. I'm going to click on that and it opens up the different assignments for you. Chapter 1, getting started, is right there. And that's essentially a short poll that you'll take. Below that is the chapter 1 reading. So you can click on it and it's going to do exactly, you know, what I had here. It's going to open up the textbook for you. All right, so I'm going to close that for now. Below that is a video activity. And I realize we're looking at this right now, but these are things that you're going to be doing next week. First person video activity, coming home for the holidays, and expect that you'll be doing one of these each week. Essentially what it is a short video. You watch the video. There it is. I know you can't hear that right now, but that's okay. And then at the end of the video, come on. Questions pop up and you'll answer questions. So those are the first person video activities that you saw in the syllabus. And then I'm going to skip this document show submission because I'm actually going to hide that. We're going to do that in Blackboard instead. There are flashcards to help you. And then I think, Amber, this was your question. Here's the quiz. And you can see what the quizzes look like. Again, it takes a second to load. So when you're purchasing that access code, this is all the stuff that you're purchasing access to. And like I said, this is really, it's about half of the course right here that you're doing online in MindTap. Okay. Chapter 1 quiz. I do want to point out, it says this is your first and final take. I will fix that for you. I offer unlimited takes for the quizzes because quite honestly, I can't edit the content of the quizzes and I find that they're very nitpicky and I want you to do well on them. So I offer unlimited takes on quizzes. I encourage you to take them over and over and over and over again until you get a 100 on them. And I'm just going to click into it so you can see what they look like. These tend to emphasize vocabulary. But what's nice is they'll show you the score up at the top here. They'll show you the score as you're taking it. So which of the following elements of communication best describe the selection of an auditory message over a visual message? You would have to pick your correct answer and then submit it and move on to the next question. Okay. So that is MindTap in a nutshell. I encourage you to go in and explore. I've just showed you all of chapter 1. But as you scroll down, there's chapter 2 stuff, chapter 3, below that, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And within that 2 is your midterm submission portal is in here somewhere too. Okay. So that is MindTap. That's essentially what you're purchasing with the access code. All right. Questions about MindTap? Everyone feels good? Okay. As you get into it, you'll become more comfortable with it. It is a nice program, and I do think you're going to enjoy the activities. And if you get stuck, especially trying to register for it, let me know. If you have any problems with MindTap, let me know, because I know how to troubleshoot a lot of those, or I have access to, frankly, we have a Cengage rep and I call that person, say, fix this. And so we'll get you squared away there. Okay. All right, let's take a look at what we've done so far. And discussion boards, we've talked about everything. So let me just jump in really quickly. This is a great opportunity. I've talked about MindTap, I've talked about Flipgrid, the syllabus, the textbook, asynchronous courses. Are there any questions that you have before we jump into 5 principles of communication? And you can shout them out or you can throw them in the chat window, whichever you prefer. Amanda, go for it.
Real quick. So I have the syllabus. I know, I printed it out. So this first square, all this needs to be done by this Sunday.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That's it.
And again, that's backed up for you in Blackboard. When you click on calendar, you'll see those same things in the calendar. Anyone
Do you
else?
recommend buying the textbook through the bookstore, or what did you call it?
Cengage.
Cengage.
I recommend buying it. And again, I'm not supposed to be saying this, so don't tell anyone.
Okay.
I recommend buying it.
Wait, don't say it. If you're not supposed to say it, turn off, stop the.
Oh, no, I don't care.
Yeah, I was about to say you have the recording. You have to delete that little bit.
No, I honestly, I logged in, this is like 2 years ago. I logged into the bookstore and saw how much they were charging for it and had a conniption fit. Like I lost it. I said, you're kidding me? You're charging this much. Purchase it, please, if you have the opportunity. I realize some of you from financial aid, the financial aid makes you purchase through the school bookstore, which is BS. But if you have the chance, if you have the choice, purchase through Cengage, because Cengage will sell it to you for $50 and the bookstore is selling it to you, but they're buying it from Cengage themselves. And it's like a $40 markup from
Okay.
between the bookstore and Cengage. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And that's, I had a fit, and then I realized that our bookstore is not owned by Goodwin. It's owned by another publishing company. And so that's where they're being all, sleazy about it.
I just realized, because when I logged into this earlier and I saw how much it was to purchase the book and how much I paid for it to Goodwin, I'm like, I could have purchased this from them.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I've seen it.
It's awful. Oh, that reminds me, and I hope I didn't close it. It is, I didn't close it. Good. So I'm going to go back to MindTap really quick because I did want to think of some, I did want to tell you one more thing. It's May 13th and it's the middle of the month. And I know financially speaking, sometimes that's hard for people. And quite honestly, this is not pay week for me. Next week is pay week for me. So if you are in a position where you can't purchase the book right now, that is okay. You can still log in. And when you first click on, come here, you click here to access MindTap, it's going to ask you to register with MindTap first. And if you don't have your access code, you can access a trial. And I believe it's a 7-day trial. So if you don't have the book now, if you can't purchase the book right now, you still are able to access and log in and do everything I showed you here until you get that book. So please don't panic if, like I said, if you're waiting to be paid next week, or if you need to handle a few bills before you purchase that book, you have that trial built in. Okay, that's important. All right, any other questions about stuff I've gone over so far?
Wait, you said that last statement. I'm sorry, I don't know if you guys see me with papers. My son was throwing papers at me from school. And I'm like, did you sanitize them? Anyway, so what were you saying about, you said something about checks and not being paid and.
Oh yeah, the books are expensive. Textbooks are expensive. I get that.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I've been buying books myself the past 4 years. If you are not in a position to buy MindTap this week, you can still log in and have a 7-day free trial. So you can still do your assignments.
What sucks about that, professor, is that if you've already used your 7-day free trial from another semester, you can't do it.
You're kidding me.
No, I tried yesterday with another class.
All right. If you get stuck, just let me know. We'll figure something out. We'll figure
That's
something out.
crazy.
It sucks. Like, it sucks. But we can't blame, like, I guess, like, Goodwin or whatever. It's just how it goes.
I can do everything
Because they
power to
actually
help
want you to purchase the book.
Yeah.
No good. No.
I honestly,
Well,
am
listen,
not surprised.
I could print it all out. I could scan it to you and I could email it to you if you have any issues.
We'll figure it out. If you get stuck, let me know. We'll figure it out and get you through the first few weeks. All right, guys.
Teamwork, guys.
Let's talk about, and frankly, that's part of the reason why we don't do any MindTap assignments the first week, just, to make sure everyone's in the right place. All right, let's talk about the 5 principles of interpersonal communication. So I'm going to go back here to my PowerPoint. And if you have the textbook, it's going to advance in just a second. There we go. If you have the textbook already, you can find this in chapter 1. And I like to go over this the first night so that we can jump into communications, but also because it sets us up for the homework tonight and a cool activity that we can do in class next week. All right. So when we talk about communication, really researchers say that there are 5 principles that govern all communication. First of all, communication, I want to emphasize this, it is a process. Okay, communication is a process. Someone communicates, someone else receives the message. And within that process, and it happens all the time, sometimes they are long communications. It might be over days, months, years, lifetimes. And sometimes these communications are very small, going through the drive-through at Dunkin' and getting your coffee, and you communicate briefly with a person who's handing you that cup of coffee. So there is a process to it. We'll focus on that process definitely next week. There are goals for communication. Every time that we communicate with someone, we do have a goal in mind. And again, it doesn't matter if it's the smallest communication, like someone cuts you off on the road and you flip them the bird. You've communicated, you had a goal, it was like F you, buddy, right? And to that extent, you also have a relationship with that person. Not necessarily a positive relationship, but there's a relationship there. versus more long-term communication, a significant other, a family member, a loved one, where you have goals within that relationship for communication and you move through these processes. Okay, so these are some of the key things that are come up time and time again as we talk about communications this summer. Yikes, lost a season there. All right, so let's talk about the 5. Come on, you. Let's talk about the 5 principles. And at this point, I really want to get discussion going. So please feel free to jump in with examples, with ideas, anything that you feel is relevant to these principles. You can either unmute yourself and say something, you can raise your hand and I'll call on you, or feel free to put it in the chat as well. All right. Okay. So here's the first principle. Interpersonal messages are omnipresent. And omnipresent basically means everywhere. They're constant. They're always going on. They just keep happening and keep coming and keep coming. And I think sometimes when we're feeling overwhelmed, that's because we've been bombarded with so many different communications, so many different messages. So interpersonal communication is omnipresent. It's everywhere. Do me a favor, take a second and answer in the chat window for me, okay? Think about your day so far and tell me what messages you've received. Okay, it can be as lengthy an answer as you want, as short an answer as you want. You can answer multiple times, but what messages have you received today? And you can think about what you've seen, what you've heard, what you've perceived. I'm giving you a few minutes to respond there, but what have you seen today? What have you received today? That would be an important message, Sam. Sam puts loved one is in the ICU. So certainly in that case, you're going to be, whether you're talking to someone about it or whether you're receiving information from medical professionals about it, those would be messages, or at least a message about a death in the family, both of you. I'm so sorry to hear that. Same thing. And if you think about how those messages are communicated to you, it could be a text message, it could be a phone call, it could be a face-to-face situation. Short notice, I had to lead a team today, from Amanda. Okay. Jasmine, a message that your client has an appointment. That could come a variety of different ways. Amber, a final exam grade. Hopefully it was a good one. You're happy with it. Anyone else? What other messages have you seen or received today? As you're thinking, I'll jump in a little bit. What have I seen? Messages I've seen. Looking at someone, and this kind of goes into perception as well, but looking at someone, my daughter was rubbing her eyes and whining and kind of clinging this evening. And what I saw was she was telling me she's hungry. She's telling me she's tired. So that would be a message. That would be an example of a nonverbal message that she communicated to me. Other things that you've seen. I guess I could say I saw the neighbors are packing up. They're going camping this weekend. So I saw them packing up their cars a lot today again. And that was kind of something that's communicated. Think about when people wave to you, as you drive by those neighbors, or if someone's calling you, that's another message you might receive. Marzina, baby brother released from jail, not going to allow his past to define his future. Awesome. So that's a really positive message that you've received today. But the reality is, and I want you to consider this, they're omnipresent. These messages are constant. They can be verbal messages where people are talking to us. They can be verbal messages where you're reading something or you're getting a text message. They can be nonverbal messages, as I mentioned before, my daughter's body language or anyone else's body language that you might see. And then finally, there are perception, seeing someone who's, kind of slumped over and recognizing that they're not feeling well or there's something that's troubling them. And as I said before, these messages, they're constant. They keep coming and you are constantly receiving messages the whole time. All right, second one, interpersonal messages follow rules. There we go. Grandma needs to pop up there. Every communication that you have is based on implicit rules. Okay, implicit rules, norms, expectations, and they're based on your experiences. And a word that's going to come up time and time and time again this semester is context. So the example that I give you here is consider how you talk to your best friend. All right, what language do you use for your best friend? Shoot, I didn't call my grandmother. I just remembered it, right? But what language do you use with your best friend or your loved ones, your significant other? The language that you use there, the attitude that you take, the tone that you use is probably going to be really different from how you would talk to, say, your grandmother. All right, let me give you an example. You are in line at your favorite coffee place and someone cuts in front of you. Okay. Now, first of all, we take caffeine very, very seriously in this country, especially in the Northeast. And you're going to have a reaction. You're definitely going to have a reaction when someone cuts in front of you. And given that context, you're going to react differently. If it's someone your age, if it's someone younger than you and they cut in front of you, you're going to have something to say. If it's someone who looks older than you, maybe it's someone who looks like your grandmother, maybe it's someone who looks sick or unwell or like they're struggling, you might have a very, very different response. And that is where, an interpersonal message is going to follow some sort of contextual rule. Does anyone have other examples for interpersonal messages follow rules? Feel free to unmute and share them with us. Yeah, Marzina, go for it.
It's just a question. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm just trying to follow. So you said that interpersonal messages, you said it follows rules. So interpersonal messages is pretty much, it can vary, or it is defined based off of the individual and or situation.
Yes. And that is the context. That is the
Okay.
context. Mhm. Let me put it this way. Any one of you, and a couple of you share that you've had tough days, any one of you could have had a massively horrible, bad news, awful kind of day, right? But here's the context. It's our first class. We're face to face. We're meeting each other. We're getting to know each other. So you're going to put that aside. You're not going to pay attention to that. You're going to focus on, this is what I have to focus on right now. This is class. I could have had the most horrible, awful day, but I have no right bringing that to class right now because it's not the appropriate context. If I was in a Zoom call with my best friends, absolutely. Or my family, sure. I'd vent, I'd tell you about it. This happened, right? But the context of this situation, the fact that I have to, appear knowledgeable and professional and whatever, I'm not going to bring that. So that's that context. And like I said, we're going to come back to that time and time again throughout the semester. Any other examples, any other opportunities that you can think of where messages changed based on context?
I would say I would use, I'm so sorry, my boys are now, I have a 3-year-old and a 10-year-old. So now you guys are gonna for me, it would be, I would say when I recently, I would say like 3 weeks ago, I had an event where I had to speak 2 times in one day. And like it was 2 different age groups. So
Yeah.
the first age group were like, more so divorced single moms
Mhm.
who that was like the group, and they were aged from, I want to say the youngest was probably like 21
Mhm.
and to the most seasoned. Then my second group was more the ages of like 16, 17, 18. So I had to like change the context and things like that, which was really interesting because, well, I'm going to start babbling. Go ahead. It doesn't matter. But there we go. I changed the context of everything.
And you're absolutely right. You're going to change your message. You're going to change your delivery based on those contexts. Arlise, you're muted. Do you want to say something?
No, that's what I was saying, how she delivers, because 2 different
Mhm.
age group, 2 different thing. Yeah, how you deliver. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
guess.
I mean, I'm going to talk to you one way. I'm going to talk to my 3-year-old another way.
Yeah, because like for the 16, 18, 17-year-olds, I had to be more like the, kind of hip with it because they're more into like the whole, the it now thing, right?
To get them to pay
TikTok.
attention.
Right. And then,
Yeah.
like I had to
Yeah.
certain languages and had to act a certain way and perceive myself in a different light to them. But when so they're able to accept me and receive me versus when I was with the more seasoned crowd, right? I can be a little bit more
Experienced.
professional, right? And I can use certain language, throw a little hell in there every now and then, to kind of get them. But yeah, like it's just to keep them different ages, different kind of angles.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm trying to circle. It's not letting me circle right now. I have to play with that. Nope, my pen's not working. Right here where it says implicit rules, that's a key thing. The context is key, but also the implicit part. These are not things that are written down. These are just things that you know from experience. Cool. Great examples. They really are. All right, let's look at, here's another one. Oh, he's got purple in his head. Interpersonal messages follow rules. And I give you the example of this picture. Let me ask you this. What can you tell me about this picture, this man?
Right off,
Yep.
he's Caucasian and bald headed and looks like Mr. Clean.
I was about to say he's bald.
He's missing the earrings. Okay. Tell me about him as a person now.
You really can't tell anything about him as a person.
Well, he clearly doesn't want us to see him.
African American. I'm saying African American.
He looks like my uncle.
Okay.
Wait, what did she say?
So tell us about your uncle.
He's very tall. He's
Mhm.
bald. He has 2 daughters.
Do you like him? Is he a nice guy?
Oh, he's great. He's very funny.
Mhm.
But you can't really tell based on the back of their head.
Sure.
I think
But-
he's hairy. I think I see some hair trying to come out of his white shirt.
I know that is
I was
kind of
about
icky.
to say facial hair, maybe.
Back hair.
Sure. But here's the thing, it's context and it's your experience. And I didn't catch who was talking about their uncle, if it was Amanda or Amber, but your description of this person is based upon your experience with your uncle. All right, so your experiences, if I go back one, your experiences, whoops, escape. These are based on your personal experiences, your culture, and the context. So where you said he reminds you of your uncle, that's because that's the experience you've had. So here's another thing that you can consider. Is he stylish because he has his head shaved? Possibly, right? Is he in the military? Or is he someone who works in public safety because he has his head shaved? A lot of cops have their hair like that. Is he someone who's struggled with cancer? And so by looking at this person, by looking at his appearance, even though I haven't given you absolutely anything to go on here, you could have 3 very, very different perceptions of this person. And so you would address that person differently. A 4th one might be, maybe he's like a tough guy. They always portray them as big guys with bald heads, right? So maybe you would recognize him as someone who's tough and a little bit threatening. And again, your messages then, the way you address this person are going to vary based upon your perception. All right, let's look at 3. Interpersonal messages contain both substance and nuance. What do you see in this picture?
That girl is miserable with that man.
Yeah, right.
Or it could be her. I don't know if that's the right hand. I'm trying to think. I don't know if that's her boyfriend and or fiance.
Sure.
Cheating on her. Wait a minute. I didn't notice that a little old iPhone in his hand.
She's
Yeah.
ready to leave. She's ready. She's ready to be done with this dinner. She's ready to go.
Just get
Yeah.
up, walk away.
Yeah, and that is the message that you're picking up on. Now, here's the reality. You didn't read that. We don't know these people. They're obviously just like a stock photo. but that's the substance and nuance. There is weight to what is being communicated. And even though she's just sitting there with like a frown on her face and her chin on her, her chin on her hand, it's just the slightest, motion or reaction, but it is speaking volumes, isn't it? Right? Imagine if she just went, that would speak volumes, or she clicked her tongue or something. And so when we say interpersonal messages contain substance and nuance, what we mean there is everything, even the smallest thing, the smallest reaction, the smallest noise, the smallest sentence has some sort of meaning to it, and it's impactful.
The demeanor.
Yeah. Or just think about like, poker face. People who wear everything on their faces, right? Same idea. Marzina, go ahead.
Did you just say click your mouth? Is that what you just said?
I did.
Let me help you real quick. I'm let the sister help you. It's called
Go for it.
Suck your teeth.
Oh yeah, that too.
Okay. I don't know what click your mouth means. I never heard of that.
Sure, either one.
That's sucking your teeth.
You're right. That would be a better fit. When I'm thinking click my mouth, like when my daughter goes like, yeah, but yeah, suck your teeth. Absolutely. Thank you. See, communication right there. All right, let's look at the fourth one. Interpersonal messages permanently impact relationships. I give you exhibit A. You guys already said she's mad. Get her out of there, right? But interpersonal messages impact relationships. Again, doesn't matter how big a relationship or how small a relationship is. When I think about small relationships, I always think about those people who cut you off, whether you're in line for coffee, whether you're on the highway, in line for the deli, whatever. Someone cuts you off, you flip them off, or you say something, and that message has impacted your relationship with that person. You've immediately decided that that person is an idiot and you don't like them. So permanently impact relationships. Or think about the message he's sending her there, or the message she's sending him. How does it impact their relationship? Okay.
So, Professor, I have a question.
Yeah.
So substance and nuance is pretty much going off of what we see there. I'm just trying to get like the better definition. Oh, she just got a kiss from her daughter. I'm sorry.
Oh. No, when you think substance and nuance, the idea there is, and I worry that we're clouding it a little bit with that other picture, but everything has meaning, okay? Every message has substance to it. For example, if I use the phrase shut up, okay? If I scream it at the top of my lungs, shut up, right? In that instance, there's a meaning behind it, and it's communicating that I'm angry, that I'm frustrated, that I don't want to, I don't want to deal with you right now, okay? Versus if I said something like, shut up, right? That would be more flirtatious, or that might be something I'd say to a friend if they're, acting stupid, that sort of thing. So the difference is in that little nuance. It's the same phrase, but I've said it slightly differently. That's where the message changes.
So
Does
like
that
you
help?
said, I think it's like it goes with this saying, you can say there's a million ways to say things.
You got it.
So that's a substance and nuance.
You got it. Absolutely. And again,
Damn.
context.
Okay. I needed that, the lower version of that.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad you asked. All right. So interpersonal messages permanently impact relationships. All messages, verbal or nonverbal, impact a relationship. If someone speaks to you kindly, you're going to feel a certain way about that person. If they speak to you unkindly, you're going to feel a certain way about that person. Think non-verbally in terms of touch. A kind touch is going to impact a relationship one way versus, say, a strike, an unkind touch is going to impact a different way. And this is a key thing, especially with relationships. Sometimes with relationships, there's so much emotion or distraction tied up in it that we have to process what that message is. In a few weeks, we'll be talking about gaslighting, okay? And consider, when someone says something it comes off as nice and you think they're saying something nice to you, but then you think about it and you go like, wait a minute, that's a horrible thing to say. Okay, I'll give you an example. A couple years ago, my mom said to me, what did she say? She said something along the lines of, I'm surprised you're such a good mom. And I was like, oh, thank you. You called me a good mom. But then went, wait a minute. What do you mean by that? What did you think I was going to be?
Right.
So in that case, it impacted our relationship on a small scale in the grand scheme of things, but I had to process that message, and then it made me think differently about that relationship. All right. Again, think about like friend relationships or romantic relationships. Have you ever said something dumb and you can't take it back? That's where principle number 4 comes in. It permanently impacts your relationships. All right. And that is redundant, so I'm not going to do it. Last one, interpersonal messages vary widely. And we're going to talk a lot about this next week. We're going to talk about different types of communication, texting, talking, hugging, touching, phones, computers, the written word. There's so many different ways to communicate messages. And there's so many different ways to receive messages. And so kind of going back to that first principle where it says that messages are constant and omnipresent, they're also going to vary widely too. All right. So I'm going to stop there for a second. Any questions on that particular topic? On those 5 principles?
Can you go back to the last slide? I didn't
Sure,
see the-
absolutely. And I will say I'm mindful of the time, and I'm thinking we're going to be done in the next 15 minutes. All right. There's that last slide. Interpersonal messages vary widely. So, excuse me, the reason why I go over all of this the first night is because you have a homework assignment this week about interpersonal messages, okay? And about these 5 principles. I'm not going to show it to you in Blackboard, but Marzina, when you're ready, I'm going to go ahead and go to that assignment in my slides.
You got it, Professor. Go
Okay.
ahead, girl.
Awesome. This is the assignment that you have. And you saw it in MindTap too, but you're going to be completing it in Blackboard. So it's a document submission, show, sketch, share. And essentially what you're going to be doing is finding an artifact. Oh, went too far. There we go. Finding an artifact that represents communication, and in particular, those 5 principles. Okay. So I want you to find something that represents at least one of those 5 principles, and then be able to describe it. All right. And specifically, I'm asking you to pick, to create a PowerPoint slide, because then we'll share it and we'll talk about it in class next week. Let me give you an example. This is an artifact that I chose. And if we talk about it, we can really address every single one of those different rules based on this picture. All right. First of all, I think it's pretty obvious that this picture shows substance and nuance. We said that before, but it also impacts relationships, right? Can you give me, just for a split second, stop and tell me what do you see going on in this picture? What's going on here?
She about to slap the fire out him.
Not disagreeing with you. What else?
Permanently impacting the relationship. Like,
Yep.
What was that word? I forgot the word I was looking for.
We can come
They're
back to.
both disengaged, like they're not interested. They just could care less.
Yeah, absolutely. And how do you know he's disengaged?
He's on his phone. He's
He's on his
ignoring her. They're at
phone.
dinner.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That
And
was
how
the
is
word
she-
I was looking for, disengaged.
Yeah,
But look
great
at
word.
his lips too. Like, look at his lips and his posture. It just looks like I don't want to be here type
Yeah.
of.
She looks like annoyed with him, possibly because he's on his phone.
Mm-hmm.
That part.
Mm-hmm.
And she's
What else
kind
do you see?
this might be her reason why. Knocking the heck out. Oh, how about I mute it?
There's no communication between the two. They're not paying any attention to each
Yeah,
other.
they're not
No one
communicating.
even drank their wine yet. Yeah, they're definitely not.
That is a small glass of wine, though. I mean, let's be honest. What else do you see? Just really study the picture. What do you see happening in the picture? Don't even worry about the rules yet.
Don't worry about the rules yet.
Mhm.
So can I go through the whole list of everything I see besides she want to smack him?
Yeah, go for it.
It looks clearly, if you look at what they have on the attire, it looks like they're on a date.
Yep.
Based off her earrings, those look like more like pearls than diamonds, like little small pearls. To me,
Mhm.
that's on a date. Then I'm looking at the background. It kind of looks fake fancy. So I'm
Mhm.
fake fancy date. And then you see the wine. The wine, like you just pointed out, is a minimum amount, which means it was that tester set, which you're supposed to kind of spin and taste a little bit. So it says,
Fancy.
and they have the little salad, which is the starter, which means they just got there and there are
Mhm.
a bad start. He looks a little flush, like he just got caught because his ears are red at the top, and it
Yep.
looked like she was screaming at him a little bit or something. I don't know. And he's like, "Dang, I got caught. She done saw me," and she's looking like, "Oh, I'm at it again. He's doing it again." Or it could be like a sibling.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, we see you tomorrow too, girl.
They
Sorry, I'm
both look
leaving
a little
work.
annoyed,
Yeah,
pretty much.
they look
Or at least, yeah, they both look annoyed.
just look over it. Or we could be very wrong. They could be siblings waiting for the parents or waiting for another couple. And he's like texting the other couple, like, where are you guys? My wife is about to slap me at this table. Like, like something like that. I don't know. I'm just thinking of everything.
No, those are great. What else do you see? Someone pick up where Marzina left off. What else do you see?
Come on, y'all. Jump on the board. Y'all have me babbling over here. Amber, I see you by the click. Jump on. I see you.
Well, she already opened the door. Maybe they're actually waiting for someone.
Mhm.
So they're trying to find a way to kind of like pass the time. She's bored. He's on his phone.
Mhm.
So yeah, maybe they're waiting for another couple or
Absolutely. And we are, to be fair, we're missing that context. We don't know exactly what their relationship is. We don't know exactly what they're doing there, but you're picking up on a lot of nuances there, a lot of subtleties. What
It could
else?
be a business meeting. It could be a business meeting that is not following through properly, and they're just like over it. But because
Sure.
we are and we live in the day and the age that we live in, the first thing we thinking is this is a relationship going real bad.
Mhm.
At this
to
point.
me, and another thing, it seems like he's more, maybe they are having dinner, maybe it is a relationship dinner, but he's more focused on some type of business that has his eye into that phone
Yep.
rather than paying attention to what's next to him. So maybe it's a business thing that he's trying to handle before dinner.
Oh, or it could be a little sister because he does look a little older and he done caught her doing some stuff he had no business, and he drug her to the restaurant where he knew the parents was gonna be, and he's like, "You better sit yourself down, you better not move, or everything is gonna be snatched away, and you're gonna be taking off like the parents' life insurance." I don't know. That's what it looks like.
You're getting it. Like, there's a lot you can tell from this picture. Like, it's crazy. It's open.
So I'm going to take a brief second and plug Professor Sheen's creative writing class, because you guys are ready for it with all of your comments here. One other thing I want to point out, communication on her hand. When she's got her hand up on her chin, something's missing on her hand. And yeah, and so that's something that people often pick up on. Like, she's thinking it's fancy, I'm dressed up, I look good,
She's
It's a nice
thinking wear a
restaurant.
ring.
Yeah.
But wait, that's what I was thinking, Amber. Y'all didn't hear me say I don't know which hand it is. Like, it looks like they might be
Yup.
married, possibly engaged. Something's not right there.
Right, right.
But she's
But
waiting
that's
for him
another-
to pop the question.
That's another communication though, isn't it? You know, when you wear a ring, and my fingers are too fat, I don't have one on right now, but when you wear a ring, that communicates something to other people. So let's look at these rules, all right? Interpersonal messages are omnipresent. And in that case, I want you to think about this picture and consider the fact that you've seen this before. Okay, you've seen this situation before. I hope that you haven't been in this situation before, but you've seen this happen. You've seen the situation where people are having a fight, they're at a restaurant, or they're not engaging with each other. And so this is something is lots of possible contexts, but this is something that you are very familiar with in one way or another. Okay. The second rule, interpersonal messages follow rules. And again, the way that they're sitting, their behavior, that context says a lot. The fact that she's got her hand or her chin on her hand and looking bored, that's communicating something. That's not showing that she's happy, it's showing that she's dissatisfied. The fact that they're dressed up a certain way, there's going to be a certain context, a certain rule to it. Maybe they're at a restaurant where he has to wear a jacket. Substance and nuance, we covered a lot. Like we said before, if she sucked her teeth, that would be communicating something, right? If she rolled her eyes, that would be communicating something. If he's sitting there with his cell phone and he's laughing and smiling and, you know, and spending a lot of time on it, he's communicating something there. Even though that there are small messages, there's that substance and nuance. Number 4, permanently impact relationships. You guys called this right away. There's no ring on her hand and she looks like she's about to walk out, right? And then finally, yeah, there you go. And then finally, number 5 is very widely. And when we look at this picture, we can't necessarily hear it, but we can see, you know, between her body language and his body language, and maybe things that they're saying back and forth. She's communicating her displeasure. He's communicating that he's focused on something else, but they're both doing it in a lot of different ways. Okay.
But I feel like at the same time, it could be like a bunch of different scenarios.
Absolutely.
It could be like I think Marzina said brother and sister. So
Mhm.
it's hard to like judge something you look at
You're absolutely right.
just based
Absolutely right.
on like body
And-
language and stuff.
And that's where communication is, again, very widely. You've got so many different possibilities. You really do.
It makes you think about the world we live in today, how people, the perception, how they perceive us right off.
They
Like,
do.
it makes you think about it like, dang. And it makes me rethink, like, makes me think back to when I speak, how the first thing I look at every individual who comes in the room and I start to just make assumptions based off of what I see. So,
Which
Sure.
brings us back to your demeanor says a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that
And when we
first-
get into chapter 6, which is nonverbal, we'll talk a lot about that. Absolutely. So again, we're running short on time. Let's look at homework really quick. I'm going to zip forward, and this is the assignment right here. Okay, I showed this to you a few minutes. You're finding an artifact that represents communication. And that's what I'd like you to do. Find something. It can be a picture, it can be an object, it can be a story, but find something that we can, as a class, kind of break down and psychoanalyze. All right. When you pick up a cell phone, what does that communicate? I mentioned before, you know, a wedding ring, that communicates something. That's an artifact. Or you can come up with a picture similar to this. But your goal is to find whatever artifact you choose and then be able to connect it to at least one of those principles of interpersonal communication. And I am asking that you do it as a PowerPoint, because then we can put it up on the screen and talk about it as a group next week. All right. So it says a PowerPoint slide. I'm going to recommend that you have 2 slides. One slide can be the artifact, and then the second slide can be your analysis of it. And then next week when we talk, we'll just put up the picture or the artifact and discuss it just as we did here. Okay, does that make sense?
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, guys, let me just ask y'all, my classmates, to forgive me right now. I'm clearly that classmate that talks a lot, but like sits in the front and raise their hand a whole lot. That's
I
me.
assure you, if you're asking it, everyone else has the same question.
You guys will probably shoot me in the back of the head with some paper balls if we were in class right now. Like, shut up, Martina, enough. Okay, so that's me. Now, where can I find this? That's one.
This is in Blackboard.
Is that Mike Courtney? Like Mike Courtney?
I don't think she can hear you yet.
Courtney, if this is the Courtney I think it is, I'm gonna freaking lose it in 2 seconds.
That would be a yes. There you go, guys. Communication. So Marzina,
I'm so sorry.
communication to react to Courtney. Hi, Courtney. Megan, the two of us, well, let's chat after we wrap up here too, okay?
So you said, where can I find this? And then the question,
Blackboard.
any artifact, like anything at all?
Anything, absolutely anything, as long as you can connect it to one of those 5 principles.
Okay.
So with the PowerPoint slide, we're finding the artifact, and then we're writing in less than 300 words
Mm-hmm.
the artifact and describing
Yes.
the artifact in our eyes,
And
and
connecting
then
it.
how does
Mhm.
it artifact represent okay,
You got
got
it.
it.
And next week, what I'll do is I'll put each of the artifacts up on the screen, and I'll ask you to, talk to us a little bit about it. And then as a group, we'll analyze it just as we did with this charming couple. And then you can do your big reveal and say, this is what I found. And this is how I connected it.
Is
Go ahead,
the
Marzina.
style is the format of writing APA? Is that what you want?
Excuse me. I've been talking way too much. Hang on.
No, it's okay.
I come into this class assuming that you guys are learning APA. So in that case, I would say, don't worry about APA. Where it's going to be important is your final paper. But I'm assuming you're learning APA right now.
Yeah, because everyone's freaking out over APA.
Right. And then I start with my big, beautiful APA manual. Nerd alert. All right.
I think last class I pretty much got APA down.
Good.
I think I
Like I said, I'm not gonna drill it. I'm not gonna really emphasize it until the last class, or rather the final paper. And during the summer, I will give you opportunities to learn more about APA and to practice it too. We do at least one class where we focus on APA.
and this is due by Sunday, correct?
Yes, please.
Okay.
All right. All right, my friends, I have gone through everything. It's 8:12. We're done. Any final questions? Any other things that you want to go over?
I was just wondering if I could talk to you for like a few minutes.
Absolutely. Yep, I know a couple people logged in late. That's totally fine. I'm prepared to sit and talk to you for a few minutes.
Thank you.
And I do want to throw out, I did record this session, and so I will do my best to upload it to YouTube and share it with you too.
That was one of the questions I was gonna ask, like
Mhm.
your slides, if we wanted to go
Yep.
back to them,
Yep, I'll
would
send you
we
those
be
too.
able? Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. I mean, please understand, I will share those things with you, but I still need you to be in class because, I'm giving you participation grade, and quite honestly, your conversation is so good. You guys are jumping in and like showing me what you think about the images already. So I do.
I
want
just
you
like to go
still
back to the slides
Yep.
because sometimes we kind of not pick up,
Absolutely.
and if we go back, we could just, yeah.
Absolutely, that's fine.
Okay.
All right. So I am going to wrap it up here. Thank you, everyone. Great first class. Like I said, this was a little bit on the longer side. I'm going to try to keep it shorter for the rest of the semester because I think our butts have like a 90-minute limit. But in the meantime, if you have questions, as I said before, you know how to find me. You can text me and I will respond, or certainly email. All right.
Thank you. Have a good
Kim-
weekend.
Thank you, you too. Courtney, and
Can we
where-
kind of like send you our thing before we actually submit it to kind of
nope,
like,
send it in Blackboard and then I'll pull them from Blackboard.
Oh,
Got-
I do have a quick question. Do you
right.
have like,
If you guys are good.
do you have like a like one of my classes? I don't know if you have it on yours, but she has where we can stay like keep in communication, or whatever, like a group thing where we can keep communication. If not, if you don't have it, I was gonna say like. tell
I
the class-
honestly, I'm struggling to hear you. I can't even hear you right now.
Oh, you can hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I was wondering, do you have like a class like group like chat thing? Like my other class has it, where the classmates can keep in communication and kind of just, hey, encourage each other, work on things together, kind of do work.
anyone can create one and
I
just
can do
add
that.
everybody's number in it.
Yeah, that's what I did in my other class.
Yeah,
I
you
can
could
do that
create
if
it since you brought it
want.
up.
I would like to know more about like what platform you're using. But yeah, I have no problem with that. I can create it, or if you want to create it too, that's fine.
Okay.
All right.
There's many different apps that we could create.
Yeah.
And just with our phone number, she just adds everyone to the group, and then we could just
Go from there.
send messages to each other
I
and stay in
might-
contact.
I might be able to do that and remind, so I would have to look into that for you, but
Okay.
I'll look into that. That's a great thing. Let's bring it up next week too. After everyone's had time to process it.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
It was a pleasure meeting everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes, absolutely.
you.
Bye, everyone.
All right, good night.
Good night now. Courtney, Megan.
I want to cry so bad.
Oh, no.
Oh. I swear.
I'm so sad.
You missed us.
Yep, totally did.
All right.
Okay,
Well,
I'm
like I
gonna-
said before.
I'm about to leave, Professor, but I'm gonna email you. So just
Okay, thank you.
no problem. Bye,
And
Courtney,
she's
that's
thrilled to
fine.
see you, Courtney.
Yay.
All right, Megan, can you hear me? And I'm saying Megan, but I'm thinking it's Megan.
It's Megan.
It is Megan. Okay, hi.
It's just
I
hi.
saw
it's-
both of you came in late. Oh, hold on. Let me stop recording.